Hey there, movie fans. Welcome to the Blues of September 2017. I'd like to show a couple of DVDs first, and they are Bringing Out the Dead by Martin Scorsese. You know, this could very well be Scorsese's most underrated film, and you can see it as a companion piece to Taxi Driver. You know, there are many similarities between the two films. I got this for very cheap, by the way. And the other DVD is the Robert Woods double feature from Wild East. It contains Black Jack and the Bell Star Story. Now, Robert Woods was one of those American actors who made many Italian movies back in the day. I haven't seen either one of them, but I know that Black Jack was released in Germany as a Django movie, which is not very surprising because, you know, lots of spaghetti westerns that came out in Germany had Django in the title, even though they had nothing to do with Django. Belle Starr is the first spaghetti western directed by a woman. I believe it's also the only spaghetti western directed by a woman, but I could be mistaken about that. Lina Wertmüller, who sounds German, but she's actually Italian. And she was also the first woman to be nominated for an Oscar in the Best Picture category for a film called Seven Beauties. Picked up these two titles from Code Red. Now, I kind of promised myself never to buy a Code Red title anymore because of the dirty trick they pulled with the Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker. You know, they had some DVD stock left, and I picked one up, and then a while later they announced the Blu-ray. But these were films I really wanted to have on Blu-ray. Vengeance, always wanted to see it, another spaghetti western by Antonio Margheriti with Richard Harrison. It looks like a good old revenge Italian western. And this, Soul Survivor, is a very underrated, very atmospheric horror film from the early 80s. I have the DVD over here, also from Code Red, and as you can see, the artwork is different. Now, this is actually the original artwork, I've been told, but I really prefer this one. I mean, this looks a lot better than the original artwork. I mean, what do you think? What do you prefer? This looks so much better, if you ask me. But this is a great film, and wonderful to have this on Blu-ray. I picked up 4 Stephen King titles that I've always wanted to get. And yeah, I did a video of my Stephen King collection a couple of weeks ago to celebrate his 70th birthday. You know, I thought it would be appropriate to do a video about that, and then update it or upload it, on his birthday. And I still needed to get another one, Cujo, you know, about the killer dog. I still need to get that one. Anyway, Pet Sematary. I'm gonna watch this in October. I haven't seen this for a while. Cat's Eye, anthology movie. Salem's Lot by the recently late Toby Hooper, and Firestarter from Scream Factory. I've also ordered a couple of other Scream Factory titles that I will be showing in the next month, because I'm running behind on the Scream Factory Blu-rays. I picked up the double feature Blu-ray of Deadwoods 2 and 3. I talked about this in my previous update. This includes 4 different versions of Deadwoods 2, including the Greek VHS cut, which is on this bonus DVD. And the picture quality is actually very terrible. You know, I was expecting a VHS quality transfer, but it's even worse than that. It's almost unwatchable. But it's a nice little extra. You know, I will never watch the movie on this version. But it's the only way to get this version, I guess. But this is a very nice release. Also has a reversible artwork, as you can see there. There's the Blu-ray, and then the DVD, and here is the other artwork of Dead Wish 2. Next is The Day of the Jackal, and this is such a brilliant film. Absolutely a brilliant film. You know, forget about the god-awful Bruce Willis Richard Gere remake. This is the one you have to watch. You know, this is an absolute masterpiece. Extremely well crafted by Fred Zinnemann, who also directed High Noon. Incredible film. And I'm very happy that Arrow has picked this up, or picked up the rights and released it. Great performance by Edward Fox here as the Jackal. And here's the original artwork, as you can see. But I prefer this one, this new commissioned artwork. It looks very nice, very nice. You know, I have this film on different formats. I have it on a Region 1 DVD and an X-Rental VHS tape. That's what a big fan I am of this film. It's yeah, it's a phenomenal film, absolutely. The Day of the Jackal. Next is Duel in the Sun. Finally, this movie has gotten a Blu-ray release. I've been waiting for years for this one. And it's a great release by Kino. You know, the picture quality looks absolutely fine by me, and it's great that the roadshow version is on here. It would have been nice if they also included the theatrical version to make it more of a complete package. You know, just like what Kino has done with the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But you can't always get what you want, right? But this is a magnificent film. Here's the auto artwork, by the way. But this is a magnificent film with great performances, especially by Gregory Peck, who plays the villain, which is unusual because he's mostly known in playing bad guys, you know, or sorry, good guys. But this is the dream project of David O. Selznick. Selznick was a legendary film producer. He was the one who brought Alfred Hitchcock to Hollywood and made some films with him, including Rebecca and Spellbound. But he was best known as the man behind Gone with the Wind, and he wanted this movie to match, if not top, the success of Gone with the Wind, but it didn't work out that way. In fact, it was a flop, and it almost bankrupted Selznick. And he desperately wanted Jennifer Jones to become a big star, and this was supposed to be her breakthrough, but it didn't work out that way either. Jennifer Jones was actually Selznick's mistress, and she later became his wife. But there were many problems during production. You know, many rewrites and things like that. And King Vidor, the director, at one point left the movie because he simply had enough of the way Selznick was working on this film. And you know, usually when you watch a movie that had a troubled production, you can kind of see it, you know, because of the mess that it is. But with Duel in the Sun, you don't see it. You know, it's not a messy film. It's an excellent epic western, and I think it's better than Gone with the Wind. And I love Gone with the Wind, you know. But yeah, very, very happy to finally have this on Blu-ray. Next is Obsessions. Now, this is the first Dutch movie shot in English, and it was also the first movie directed by Pim de la Parra, who together with Wim Verstappen founded his own production company called Scorpio Films, and they made short and feature-length, low-budget films that were very successful. There was one in particular that was so successful it made them millionaires, and that was Blue Movie, which is a erotic film that came out in 1971, and it started the sexual revolution in Dutch cinema, and it allowed Paul Verhoeven, among others, to make his own erotic themed film drama with Turkish Delight, which became even more successful. And to this day, Turkish Delight is the most successful Dutch film in history. Now here are, as you can clearly see, two very familiar names who worked on this Dutch film. Scorsese was in Amsterdam in the late 1960s, 1968 to be exact, and he was there shooting the dream sequence of Who's That Knocking at My Door, and he needed actresses, and Pim and Wim made a deal with him. They would find the actresses for him, and in exchange they wanted him to help them out with the screenplay. By the way, here are pictures of the actual screenplay of Obsessions that was showcased at the Martin Scorsese exhibition in the Eye Film Museum in Amsterdam. And here is a note that Scorsese had written on the screenplay. Bernard Herrmann met Pim and Wim through François Truffaut. Truffaut and Herrmann worked together on The Bride Wore Black. And Pim and Wim wanted him to do the music, but there was one problem. They could not afford him. He was too expensive. But he liked these two guys, and he liked their enthusiasm, so he allowed them to use some of his unused music that he once made for Hitchcock, if I'm correct. And he, if they followed his instructions of where to put the music, they could add his name to the credits, and they did just that. So this movie has an interesting backstory, and the movie itself is very decent, I thought, and it's not a Hitchcock quality thriller. The scenes that's supposed to be suspenseful aren't really that suspenseful. You know what I mean? But it's all right, and it also has a very surprising ending as well. It's basically a rip-off to Rear Window. It's about this medical student, played by the producer, by the way. What's his name again? Here it is. Dieder Geisler. He plays a medical student who discovers a hole in the wall in his apartment so he can see what his neighbor is doing, and he believes that his neighbor has killed a woman. But this is very nice. I really did enjoy it. It's a nice release from Cult Epics with the DVD and the Blu-ray over here. I like the tagline there: Hitchcock, Scorsese, and sex made in Holland. Well, that's all you need to know, right? Next is Almost Human by Umberto Lenzi, with an incredible performance by Thomas Millian, who plays such a nasty, sadistic bastard in this one. I read an interview with Lenzi where he talked about Millian and how he prepared himself to portray these outrageous characters by drinking lots of vodka and taking cocaine and tranquilizers, and he was uncontrollable, and Lenzi could not even direct him properly. But Millian was an interesting but troubled man. He was his father was a Cuban general who was arrested and put behind bars, and later he committed suicide right in front of Millian when he was just a kid. Now he saw his father shooting himself in the head, and he was never the same after that. Obviously, who would be? But he was an interesting guy who was responsible for many unforgettable characters. And this is an incredible movie with a great score by Ennio Morricone. And this is the only collaboration between Lenzi and Morricone. And Lenzi would have loved to work with him again, problem was that Morricone's wife was so shocked about the extreme violence in this movie that she forbid her husband to work with Lancy again. And speaking of Thomas Millian, he also stars in this Lucio Fulci classic Don't Torture a Duckling. And as you can see, it is still brand new. I just received it today, and I still need to open it, and I still need to watch it, believe it or not. I mean, I'm a fan of Fulci, but I've never seen this movie. And there are a couple of more films I've never seen of him. The Psychic, never seen it. A Lizard in a Woman's Skin, never seen that one either. So, yeah, I know. I ought to be ashamed of myself. I picked up the steelbook of Fast and Furious 8, officially known as The Fate of the Furious. And this movie is just stupid. It's dumb, it's idiotic, it's bullshit, and it's a lot of fun. You know, I cannot help it. These movies are just incredibly, ridiculously entertaining. And they're planning to do a spin-off with Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. And I look forward to that one. Although there are a couple of actors who doesn't like that. Vin Diesel, for example. There was supposed to be a scene at the end of this movie with The Rock and The Stead. And that was meant to be a prelude to the spin-off movie. But that was cut out thanks to Vin Diesel's interference. And also Tyrese Gibson is another one who is not happy with the spin-off movie. And he even begged Dwayne Johnson not to do it. I guess, you know, I guess these guys cannot stand the fact that Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham are more popular than they are. And here is the steelbook of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which I enjoyed a lot. But the freshness and the surprising element of the first movie is gone. But the fun is still there, you know, it is thoroughly entertaining, and I just love the characters, you know, the characters are just absolutely fantastic. Picked up this lovely and sexy looking digibook of Wonder Woman with the very beautiful Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot is hot. Really enjoyed this movie, by the way. It's not oh, that's very nice. It's not the best comic book movie of the year. I mean, that would be Logan. But this is a lot better than Spider-Man Homecoming. I mean, imagine that, a DC movie better than a Marvel movie. At least, in my opinion. And, you know, Patty Jenkins did a terrific job on directing this movie. But if somebody told me that this was directed by Zack Snyder, I would have believed it. I mean, it looks very much like a Zack Snyder movie. And, you know, there are many slow motion action scenes which you see quite often in Snyder's movies. Now, and I've been thinking, if Snyder did direct Wonder Woman, people would have hated it. Because apparently it's very cool to hate Zack Snyder. I've always liked Zack Snyder, and I've always liked his movies, so fuck the haters. Here is the digibook of Alien Covenant. Another very nice release. You know, I do like this movie, but on the other hand, I understand why some people think this is unnecessary. Unnecessary because of the fact that this movie reveals the origin of the xenomorph. You know, do we really need to know that? Do we really need to know where they're coming from and how they were created? Wouldn't it be better if we did not know where they're coming from? But I did enjoy it for what it is. You know, it's a good movie, but it has some flaws. But it also has a brilliant performance by Michael Fassbender, or performances, I have to say, because he plays a double role. And it also has a great ending as well. Now I'm going to show the pages of this of the Digibook. And I have to warn you that some of these pages might contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, better skip this part. Almost fell out the Blu-ray. I always hate it when they do these kind of things, you know. Not good for the Blu-ray. It can easily fall out, as you just noticed. But these are very beautiful, you know, kind of glossy pages, as you can see. There's a Fassbender as David, the same character that he played in Prometheus. There's the DVD, by the way. Yeah, on the other hand, it was great to see the xenomorph again, which is something that we missed in Prometheus. And it's also very funny, you know, when Prometheus came out, the fans wanted to see the xenomorph, and they did not want to see the engineers. And now Ridley Scott gave them what they want with this one. They gave them the xenomorph, but you know, the engineers just had a very small role. And now the fans are saying that we wanted more engineers and less aliens. We're never satisfied, are we? But these look very nice, you know, great artwork. Very nice release. And last but not least, I picked up this new edition of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the 40th anniversary edition, which has, you know, I showed this in the beginning of this video, but there's a little button here, and if I push it, it lights up, and then make a little sound from the movie. How cool is that? Looks very nice, doesn't it? Here's the other side. Very nice. And I open up the top. There's a booklet here, visual history. Sorry about the dog, by the way. Another beautiful booklet there with glossy pictures. Well, these are not glossy, but this is glossy. Steven Spielberg here behind the camera. And this is a terrific film, isn't it? I don't know how many times I've seen it. I lost count, but it's one of those films that you always enjoy. You know, it just never gets boring. Wonderful. And this is the 4K Ultra HD edition. It also had the normal Blu-ray and a digital code. Nice slipcover there. I still need to get this out of the shrink wrap. But beautiful release. I also want to get the 4K release of it doesn't want to get in, of E.T. This has a lenticular cover as well. There you go. And that is it for the September update. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.